Good afternoon to all. I wish to thank PALSCON for this opportunity to share insights with you on the importance of tripartism and social dialogue to attain higher productivity and industrial peace in our workplaces and in the world of work. As the cornerstone of our labor relations policy, tripartism and social dialogue have, through the years, informed and guided policy making and decision making in the DOLE. Tripartism and social dialogue, I believe, have facilitated constructive engagement in the world of work that reflects higher maturity of labor management relations in our workplaces. A mature workplace relation is also a productive relations. It is timely that PALSCON has decided to discuss productivity and industrial peace in this forum. As manpower service providers, you are essentially employers, although not really in the traditional sense, that is with respect to workers you deploy to principals. In a trilateral arrangement and even bilateral schemes, productivity in the enterprise is something that may be difficult to size up. This is because employees are necessarily segmented into regulars and non-regulars. This gives rise to a dichotomous internal labor market, whose stability and predictability is conditioned by changes in the workforce makeup in a periodic and somehow predictable fashion. Of course, we operate on the assumption that training is an important productivity-enhancing activity for workers. And a while ago, former Undersecretary Jimenez mentioned that skills is the best protection of our workers. I have often wondered how enterprises with this kind of internal labor market handle the trainings and other HR development needs of their workforce composed of regulars and non-regulars. Certainly, business imperatives compel management to implement HR development programs for their workers. The question to ask and must be answered is, where are the non-regulars in this equation if they are included at all? I would like to think that contractors or manpower service providers, just like you, members of PALSCON, also take care of the HR development needs of the workers they deploy to principals. But to what extent? What will be the incentives for principals to train and upgrade the skills of their non-regular workers if their engagement is for a definite period of time only? The same question applies to contractors and subcontractors. Why invest in people whose skills and talents might no longer be at your disposal at a period where returns on investment from their training are expected to be realized? A related question might also be asked. Does stability in the internal labor market has something to do with industrial peace? I believe that question unanswered by saying that the DOLE will continue to harness tripartism and social dialogue to bring about better workplaces, driven by productive, globally competitive, and secure workers, and steered by professional, law-abiding, and decent employers. As Secretary Bello has articulated in many occasions, the DOLE will be guided by our 8-point labor and employment agenda as we fulfill our basic mandate as an institution as follows. First, to promote employment and human resource development. Second, to ensure workers' protection and welfare. And third, to promote a sound, stable, and dynamic industrial peace as a shared responsibility of our social partners in the workers and employers sectors. The sixth item in our agenda actually pertains to our desire to achieve a sound, dynamic, and stable industrial peace. with free and democratic participation of workers and employers in policy and decision-making processes affecting them. Toward this end, we will ensure an active, functional, and mutually beneficial social partnership between workers and employers, develop means to enhance collective bargaining and other forms of labor management participation within and outside enterprises. For this reason, we need to make tripartisan and social dialogue more inclusive, and this might entail reconstitution of and expansion of tripartite representation and other mechanisms for social dialogue. I am happy to note that in the many occasions, consultations that we have so far conducted, especially with respect to the issue of ENDO, I am happy to note that we saw the active involvement of key labor employers groups that traditionally have not participated in these kinds of engagements. Tripartism has enabled both workers and employers to have a voice and articulate their sectoral aspirations. But for this voice to be effective, it must be of better quality.